Alright, everybody, we're just going to get started over here. So today we have Zack Honarvar from Shopify. Zack has been the senior accounting executive at Shopify for the past 2 years. He's actually, at his time there at Shopify, he's actually become one of the top sales, outbound sales leaders, actually being 121% of his quota back in 2017. He's also signed deals with big brands such as O'Neill and Steve Madden. So actually in March, Zack will be leaving Shopify and we'll be heading to Los Angeles to start his own talent management agency. So everybody, can we just give it up for Zack?
Nice to meet you and happy to be here. So I'm going to talk to you guys about something that I was thinking to myself when I was in first year, second year. Like I wish someone came in to where the business school I went to, which was Laurier, and did a presentation. What would I want them to have told me to have made the past 6 years a little bit easier or giving me a boost? So maybe just show of hands. Who here is in first year? Okay, second year? Show of hands, who has a side business? Nice. What's your side business?
I run a social media advertising firm.
Follow. So who here has hopes or aspirations to one day start a business? Okay. So a lot of people that one day want to start a business but just haven't got there yet, right? Not heads? Sure. So I'll give you guys a little bit of background on my story really quickly, and I'm going to jump into 3 main topics that I think a lot of people get wrong when they're in a first year, second year mindset. First off, I went to University of Laurier, like I said. While I was at Laurier, I wasted no time in starting businesses because I knew from a very early age that I wanted one day to be an entrepreneur. But as I'm sure you guys know, who are obviously at an entrepreneurial event, people always ask you, well, then what's your $1 million business idea? Right? Smarty pants, you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what's the idea? And I never had an idea. I just knew I wanted to start something. So I figured, well, why wait for the $1 million idea? I'll go into something that's not a $1 million idea, and I'll just fail and learn. So I started a tutoring business in university, and it lasted about 4 months, made a little bit of money, and then crashed and burned because my tutors didn't teach well. And it didn't really do that well, but I learned a lot. I learned how to hire, I learned how to interview, I learned how to market, which was like standing outside of lecture halls like this when the business classes would end, and I'd be handing out like little cut-up flyers. And then when I went where I was graduating university, I did what most students do. I took the job that paid me the most money, and that was at Sunlight Financial. And I sat at a beige cubicle, and I looked at Excel spreadsheets for 8 hours a day. I didn't speak to anyone other than my direct manager, and I was trading time for money. And I quickly realized that going home at 5 and then hustling until 10 wasn't enough to succeed as an entrepreneur. And I had people that were friends of mine that were starting from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or later that were beating me because they had more time. And I realized I was trading time for money, but that wasn't going to work out. So I actually came up with this concept then. I said, I don't have any money. I have 40 grand of OSAP debt I got to pay off. There's no position to be starting a business. So what do? So I said, I got to hack the corporate world to help me become an entrepreneur one day. And the way I did that was I went to an event almost exactly like this the next day after I had that mindset, And who was there? Shopify was there. And Shopify had a person come up, kind of like I'm doing right now, and gave a talk about how sales is not like Wolf on Wall Street, like hoorah, like point guns and like go home all like, looking cool in a suit. Sales is actually very day in, day out, grinding. It's about helping people. It's about working long hours. It's not glorified as people like to make it seem, or sleazy as a lot of like movies make it seem, right? Like a lot of movies, the salesperson is a clever, mischievous type of person who's trying to get people to buy something they don't really need. Whereas I see it more as like a pursuit of happiness, doing what you have to survive, but also trying to help the person at the other end. So I started at Shopify. I do sales. So show of hands who's familiar with what Shopify is. Cool. For the few hands that are not, Shopify is an e-commerce platform. So brands use Shopify to power their online stores. So a few brands like Kith, now Speak Madden, Kylie's cosmetic lip kits. There are about 500,000 stores that power their online store with Shopify. And 1 in 3 people in North America has bought from a Shopify store. They probably just don't know it because it's a background platform. And so I started selling this platform to businesses that were enterprise. So bigger brands that do anywhere $1 million plus. And now, where my story has led is I met a lot of people. I built a very amazing Rolodex. I was able to work with a bunch of different influencers, actors, creators, rappers, musicians, artists, and then basically said, I have what I need to be able to take a leap of faith and have a bunch of creators that agreed to let me manage them, basically as an agency. And then, so I moved in March. So Shopify is known for the past 2 months, which is funny because when you guys reached out to me to do this, I hadn't quit yet. And then in the meantime, I was like, guys, I don't know if you guys still want me to come because I'm not going to work at Shopify anymore. And they're like, no, it's an entrepreneurial event. Like that's the type of shit they want. So without further ado, with that in mind, the 3 things, and with a workshop of 30 minutes, like I was like, man, what's the skill? Like, what's 30 minutes? Like, what can I teach? And I couldn't put my finger on one thing in particular, so I figured I'll pick 3 things that I think I did really well and share them with you in a brief exercise, and that's why you guys have papers. If you don't have a paper, use your phone. Just go on the notes section. I won't think you're texting someone. But do this exercise when you're not here, because it'll take too much time for you. So just have it in mind. I'll teach you how to do it, and I promise you I do each one of these things like clockwork all the time. So the first thing about hacking the corporate world is you got to plan how to do it. You got to actually set goals. If you just go into corporate world, guess what happens? And I bet you that you guys know that this has happened to 99.9% of people in your life. They go into the corporate world with like, yeah, one day I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da. And then they get in there and they get comfortable and they get stuck in 9 to 5 and they get stuck in routine, and then one day they got a mortgage and then they got a wife or a husband and then kids, and then it's comfort. So the one thing is not getting trapped in it. To not get trapped in it, you got to plan for what your steps are going to be. So goal setting. So the number one thing is brainstorm a shit ton of goals, right? So very simple. Just put a bunch of goals on paper. And I do this across 3 weeks. Because how many of you guys have ever set a goal like, oh, in 2018, I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish? And then like you don't even really want to learn Spanish. It's just when you're brainstorming goals, you're like, yeah, that'd be cool. But then when push comes to shove, it's just like a nice to have goal. What happens if you set goals and brainstorm goals over the process of, or across a time of like 2-3 weeks, is you're going to pick out, oh man, this was like a cool goal. That wasn't really something I really wanted. It's just like, yeah, that'd be nice. But when push came to shove, you weren't willing to chase it. So brainstorm goals, let time pass, and then segment those goals. So when I say segment, I mean, let's say, spend more time with mom. This was a real goal for me. Speak Spanish, or learn how to speak Spanish. Real goal for me. What else? Run a marathon, hit sales quota, etc. And after I made my goals, I segmented them into 4 or 8 segments. Those numbers are important. I'll let you know the reason why. But 4 or 8 segments. So goals like this went into the family segment. Goals like this went into self-development. This, health and fitness. and this, Shopify. When you write all your important goals down and you segment them out into actual categories, what you end up building are the categories in your life that matter, and then you start to make a thing in your mind go, oh, everything that's not a category in here actually doesn't matter that much. So the next stage is to look at all the goals in your segments and quantify them. By far the most important part. Quantify those goals. Because what happens is, things like spend more time with mom, I bet you all of us have goals that are very vague. Like, what is more? What is time? Am I just going to sit there on my phone and mom watch Netflix? Which is what happens a lot of the time. Because I'm just too busy and like go home for the weekend and I'm like, spending time with mom, but it's just texting. So quantifying these things, I'd go back and say, no, I want one big event with my mom per month. Right? So quantify. After you quantify it, you find a calendar. And you put that blocked off in your calendar. If you guys use Google Calendar, if you don't, start using it. If you do, make an event. I get a notification on the 1st of every month to plan a big event with my mom. And then when I get that notification, guess what? I do it. But when I start January 1st with a New Year's resolution that says spend more time with mom, on whatever the day is today, January 20-something, I usually just forget, right? Like, that's what happens. So who here has set New Year's resolutions? Do you want to share one New Year's resolution?
Mine? Get into Ivey.
Get into Ivey. Who here has the resolution of get into Ivey? Oh, you guys are lying, please. So, who here has written down some of their New Year's resolution actually physically on paper? There's a lot less hands. So who here has made New Year's resolutions but just has it in their head and they don't want to, hasn't written it down at all? Yeah. So basically with the law of the universe, as soon as you write something down, you hold yourself more accountable for it. What's even more than that is that it reminds you. Everyone here can leave this room and tell Siri, hey, remind me on February 1st to schedule something with my mom. Or, hey, Siri, remind me every Tuesday at 3 p.m. do a class of Duolingo. We can do that because those are the small steps that it takes to learn Spanish, right? We can basically break that down, quantify it into, I want this level of Duolingo by Q1, by Q2, by Q3, by Q4, and soon you speak Spanish. But if we still have to speak Spanish, we end up just like saying dos cerveza and going to like Q1 to inclusive resort. That's about as far as we get. And running a marathon, I can't even run like 10 minutes on a treadmill. So that was a very weird goal for me to set. But I was like, yeah, if I want to run a marathon, I got to be able to run half a marathon in maybe half a year. And then maybe in the full year, I can run a full marathon. These don't have to be perfect. All they have to do is you got to take a big audacious goal and break it down to just small, small steps. Small steps that are in your calendar. That's how small. Dream macro, but work micro. Does that make sense? That's important. I'll repeat it. Dream macro, but work micro. Everyone can set out and say, I want to be a big-time entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. It's fucking hard. The micro actions in the day-to-day schedule of literally how you spend your time in university and out result in that bigger dream, right? So set goals. Once you put these in your calendar, there's a really cool activity that when I first heard it, I was like, cheesy. Not going to do it. That's cheesy. And that's when I drew the line. And the next year, I went back to the same routine, and I did it, and the results were incredibly more successful. And what that was I took each segment, and I wrote a statement. I call it the reflection statement. So for this year, when I was making 2018 goals, I went back and I said, imagine it's December 31st, 2019. And write a paragraph on each segment that you have, and basically pretend as if you did all those goals that you just set out to do. So for example, health and fitness. I wrote a paragraph that says it's December 31st, 2019. I was just able to run a marathon. Being healthy in my life means that I'm happier, that I'm less stressed, that I look good when I take my shirt off, whatever it may be. And all those things, what you do in your brain is you remind yourself when those times get hard of what that end picture looked like. What does my life look like when I can speak Spanish? And what you'll also start to do is realize whether that's important or not. And whether that's just a nice-to-have goal or something that actually makes a difference to you. You know, for family, it's like, hey, I'm closer with my family. My mom thinks I'm more responsible. She trusts me with more. She comes to me with some issues that she wouldn't have before because now we have a closer relationship. And you'll always come back to that. The coolest thing about that is when it's actually December 31st, 2019, and you read that. I wrote something in my reflection for 2017 goals that said, I just hit my sales quota. Shopify just gave me the sales MVP award. I feel very happy. They think that I'm one of their top reps. I've gotten the appraisal from, or I've gotten the appreciation from directors to get a promotion if I want. And I feel loved and trusted here. I read that on December 31st and I was like, damn. Because I wasn't any top outbound rep a year ago from now. But when I read that, I was like, oh shit, a year ago, I put that out into the universe and it happened. Obviously not just from the reflection, from the daily steps, but that reflection always kept in my mind what would make me happy when I hit that. So that's goal setting. The second thing is networking. So networking, the reason it's important is because everybody does it wrong. Everybody. The reason they do it wrong is people go, I want to get into investment banking. So what I'm going to do to network is I'm just going to go meet a bunch of people in investment banking, right? So the reason that that is counterintuitive for an entrepreneur is because as an entrepreneur, you are a dot connector. You have to be able to look at one industry and realize that the way the industry works is different than how other industries work. Let me give you an example. The health sector is very different than the tech sector, which is very different from the banking sector. And most people just look at one sector and then they nosedive. What entrepreneurs do is they go, cool, I'm going to go make some friends with or I'm going to network with some Ivey grads or some people in Ivey. I'm going to start to network with basically banking people. Let's just call them that. It's a broad term. But then I'm also going to go and network with some health people. And what really good people or what really good networkers do is they, again, write this down. Right? Have you guys ever heard of that saying that's like you're the product of the 5 friends you spend the most time with? Yeah? Nodding heads? Yeah? If you haven't, that's very true in your life. How many of you guys have 5 friends written down somewhere that you want to be like or that you want to like be a product of? No one, right? I do. But what this means is that when you're an entrepreneur, you can know people from tech, you can know people from banking, you can know people from health, not because you want to get into those sectors, but because when your tech connection has a problem, you are bringing a new perspective into their lives. And this is very underrated. And the amount of times I've had a friend in tech come up to me and say, man, I really wish I'm working with this app that's whatever, and the amount of times it's needed someone in banking, like, hey, I need to raise capital, but I just don't know any investors. I don't know any big-time guys who want to get into, investing into a business or into an angel opportunity. And I go, dude, I know a bunch of people at Goldman Sachs. I know just those people. Let me introduce you. And then I'm like, hey, remember my banking friends? Hey, banking friend, want to meet my friend from tech? And then if it works out, now they owe me one. And then now in health, and now my health friend is like, hey, I need this. Hey, I need, my health friend is like, hey, I want to build an Instagram page so that I can become like one of those cool gym guru people. And I'm like, cool. And he goes, well, I know nothing about social media. I just work out all the time. I'm like, cool. Hey, tech friend, help health friend, and teach him the ways. And then in return, whatever that person wants to give to that, but you are the person who brings them together. So in networking, it's very important to not get caught up in going into a nosedive, unless you really just want to be in that one sector. But even in that case, look at how many people are in business school here. Look at how many people are in university here. Think about all the business schools around Canada where people want the exact same job as you if you don't want to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of people applying for those jobs and they look great. One of the best ways you can differentiate from them is by bringing a fresh perspective that they're not used to. You have a bunch of people coming to them that want to go into banking or to go into finance or whatever. The other thing is the myth of old mentors. Everyone always thinks that they can go out and mentor with the biggest, baddest CEO level dude on LinkedIn, and that that's the best mentor to have because he's the highest and he's been there and he's experienced. Not true. Whenever I've been in a room with an older dude who's like well experienced and high up, and I go, hey man, I'd really appreciate it if you could get me X. He goes, yeah, I know someone who does that, and he calls someone up that he went to university with, or he calls someone up that he went to high school with. And I was like, damn, he just calls up all his buddies from way back in the day. So I was thinking to myself, if I'm one day in his shoes, who am I going to call? It's those friends that I have around me now. So a lot of mistakes is like people, when they're going to be entrepreneurial, and I just listened to the keynote, a great help about like asking for help and being open to like getting assistance on the way to being an entrepreneur. It's fucking spot on. Because most people always look above and they're like, hey, help me, help me. But a lot of people don't look around and say, these are the people that are actually going to help empower me up, rather than getting pulled up by someone who's already there. Because those people are, one, busy, and two, frankly, sometimes, most of the time, they don't care. Very few times, like a lot of people are willing to do mentorship, but the ones who are usually have mentors that they're mentoring and just don't have the capacity to take on more. Or two, in a way, a lot of the people who are mentoring at that stage, there's too many degrees of separation between you and them. The advice that they have for you is too soon for you. You get there in small stages. So make sure you reach for a mentor that isn't too high above. And that's like, you guys are first year, so like at fourth year, I wish I did that. I wish I did that. The other thing is having a board of directors. So quickly, everyone on the piece of paper on your phone, just write down 5 friends that if you had a big life decision, who are the first 5 friends that come to mind that you'd ask for that? Just quickly. If you don't have 5 friends, I'll be your friend. So while you're writing that, as an entrepreneur, when you don't have a business, which is like everyone in this room except for our friend with the red shirt and bow tie who has his awesome agency, is you are a business. You yourself as an entrepreneur with no business around you are the business. And like a business that has a board of directors, you need a board of directors that you can go to for other point of view on the things that you're going up against. So those 5 friends, when you guys leave today, ask them to do these tests. And you can find them for free if you just do a quick Google search. The Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram. Ask those friends to do those tests. What it will do is it'll tell you their personality, it'll tell you where they're strong, it'll tell you where they're weak. And do that for yourself too. If you are someone who's very detail-oriented, usually means you can't look at things from a high level. So find friends that can look at things from a high level. And then you can balance your strengths with their weaknesses and their weaknesses with your strengths. So those 5 friends, do that. That's homework. Good. And the last thing is learning to sell. And more importantly than just like learning to sell is finding a job, when you do find a job, or when you apply to your internships or jobs or whatever it may be, if you want to be an entrepreneur, find jobs that are outward facing. What I mean by that is when I sat at my desk at Sun Life, I sat in a beige cubicle and no one outside that organization knew I existed unless I went out and networked off hours. There were no hours within my day-to-day at work that I was able to actually meet anybody. So find positions, find opportunities where that company helps you meet people. So a really good opportunity for that is sales. That's not me selling you on sales. But for me, that's what Shopify did for me. Shopify allowed me to go sell to the vice president of e-commerce and the CEO of Steve Madden. And then now, because I was able to build a relationship and treat them well and cater to their needs, I can now call on that VP of e-commerce or the CEO of Steve Madden and say, hey man, in my side business, I need some help. I got a fashion influencer who wants a brand deal with Steve Madden to be able to rock your shoes and maybe put out a discount code. And now I'm, again, kind of like that, those spheres and those circles, I'm connecting dots. So find something outward facing, and for sales is not about getting, this is one of the biggest realizations I came to. I came into sales thinking that I would leave sales being able to convince people to buy something they didn't want to buy. And I was like, man, that'd be cool if I could just go into a room and be like, yo, buy this pen. And that person doesn't even need to write anything. That's what I thought. But I came and I quickly realized it just is finding who wants to buy and then helping that person buy as easily and as happily as they can. So I call up 100 people, yo, you want a pen? Nah. All right. Yo, you want a pen? Nah. And then one person that's like, yo, you want a pen? And they're like, I've been thinking about this. I kind of want to write some stuff down sometimes. I'm like, cool, why do you want to write some stuff down? Because, man, I just want to get my mind out, put my thoughts out on paper. And then, dumb example, when you get the point. Now someone actually needs the pen for a reason. And my job is to make that reason big, show them how significant that reason is, and then lead them to the holy grail of a pen. That, my friend, is sales. And that is literally how every entry-level job out of university for sales works, is calling up and getting told no 90% of the time, which guess what is the #1 best training method for entrepreneurs, who get told no 99.999% of the time, and then a few times you get told yes. For example, when I go to LA, I called a bunch of creators, and I just said, hey, I have an agency. You guys want to be managed by me? No. I called up Logan Paul. Hey, Logan Paul, you want to be managed by me? No. Called up Jake Paul. Hey, Jake, you want to be managed by me? No. But Jake was like, hey, I got some friends. They need a manager. Cool, Jake, thanks. And then you call a friend. And eventually some people started opening up. Some people started saying yes. And then from there it was like, hey, how do I build this relationship? How do I bring the dots together? I want to make sure how much time do I have? Perfect. So that is where I think a lot of you, if you really are serious about entrepreneurship, I would talk sales as a job opportunity. How many people here are looking for opportunities in the summer? Yeah. So the other piece of advice I would give is, I always hate it when there's professors that lead these things because they get mad at me. But no one's ever looked at my transcript. Never. Not Shopify, not Sun Life. My friends, even in consulting, got one glance at their transcript after graduating university, and they've never been asked for that piece of paper again. I don't even know where my degree is. No idea. I got it. I'm not sure where it is. It's probably somewhere in the basement somewhere. The point I'm trying to make is university, for me, was not about that piece of paper. I spent 40 grand, 45 grand in student debt, which cost me a lot more than I was paying off during it, for that piece of paper. But would I take it back? No. But not because of what I learned in the school, but because of what I learned from those around me, what I learned from amazing events like these. And that was 100% what I took out of university. So what I'm trying to say is, the #1 important thing that you can do right now as a first year is find out how can I do something productive in summer #1. And when you can do that, and when you work at that opportunity harder than you work for your grade, it ends up happening. Your grades might take a hit. A 5-year plan. 5-year plan. So I guess with that, I figured I would open up a 5-minute question opportunity for anyone who has questions about my personal life. Oh, by the way, I put these up here. This is my email. It works until March 2nd, until they take me down. And for when they take me down, I have to plug my Instagram, because that's how we really are probably more likely to be networking in opportunities where like someone's 24 networking with 19-year-olds. One of the things I want to talk about here is when you're networking, don't always just hit people up on LinkedIn. Especially if they're fresh grads, find them on the platform that they actually use the most. And that doesn't mean like, hey, Snapchat me. That just means like, figure out something that's still decently professional, which Instagram, by the way, guys, is professional, unless your profile looks like you're funneling beers all the time. And if your profile does look like that, cool. I funnel beers too. Just make a professional one on the side, which is also there. So if you guys want to reach out to me after I leave Shopify, hit me up on Instagram. But these are 4 more detailed questions. But I'm curious to know if anyone has a question for me about anything that I covered across goal setting, networking, and learning to sell.
When did you start like getting into goal setting and like getting that intricate into it? I'm sure like all of us do goal setting, right? But definitely not like at a quantifiable stage like what you did. Was there any point in your life or like anything that really triggered like, oh, like my goal's not working right now, or like I need to do this in order to reach my goals?
Yeah, that's a good question. There was a book I read called Good to Great. I think it's by Jim Collins. Has anyone heard of it? No? The premise of the book is the reason that there are no or very small or few great companies are because there are so many good companies. The reason in the NBA there's only a few great superstars is because there's so many good players. Doing something that's good becomes so commercial or popular that few people do what is great or what is exceptional. So now I start to reflect on how I do the things that matter to me, and I ask myself, am I just doing what everyone else is, or am I taking it a step further and doing what it takes to be great? So if you are, for example, my life example, where I was working at Sun Life, I would come home at 5 and I would work till 9, I was like, yeah, that's what good entrepreneurs who are balancing work do. What do great entrepreneurs who are balancing work do? They usually find a job that takes less money and then actually helps them build the skills for entrepreneurship. So one of the biggest things for me with goal setting was I looked at how I goal set, which usually was just like at the beginning of the year making a piece of paper, jotting down a few goals, and then that paper would like kind of get rustled and like put aside. Then eventually like it would get so deformed from like coffee stains that I'd write it on a new piece of paper, throw that one out, and like sometimes I'd get lost and I'd find it like 7 months later and be like, shit, I didn't do any of this stuff. So when that started happening, I was like, man, this is probably what everybody does. So I held myself accountable to do something bigger in order to get bigger results.
This might be a tough question to answer because you mentioned that like you already knew you wanted to be an entrepreneur for that a long time. But like obviously I feel like in entrepreneurship like there's so many like avenues you can like go through, and obviously like any idea can be in any sector. When did you like, or when and how did you find out that like this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life? And like when did that moment hit you? This is what I'm doing on a daily basis and I'm perfectly fine with it and happy.
Entrepreneurship or this idea in particular? Like my
or just overall, because like obviously for students it's kind of hard, like there's like so many curiosities and stuff that you kind of like think that like even if you want to be an investment banker, for example, like yeah, I'm really gonna be sitting in an office every day of my life, and how will I be happy with that?
Yeah,
it's just like
for sure. So it's a really good point too. When I was in first year, I wanted to be an investment banker because I was like, I want to make a lot of money, and I was like, I want to wear a suit and tie every day. Then I started wearing a suit and tie every day when I graduated. I was like, man, this sucks. It's fun to wear a suit and tie when people don't make you wear a suit and tie, but when people start making you wear a suit and tie or a dress or a blazer, then you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't have to do this. So that's a big mental change. But to go back to your question, when I realized it, because honestly, you never realize it. There's never a one moment where it's like, oh, this is what needs to happen, or this is what I want to do. You're always just testing. And the thing is, you have to be vulnerable enough to be okay with that. I finally am at a place where I can think of my new idea that I'm going to pursue and say, this could be my one big idea. Or it could completely fail, and I could suck at it. And then I have to go open up another big idea. So it's more of, there's never one moment where I know it's going to work. It's being able to be open and self-aware with myself. What is the best thing for me at the moment? So, and that is based on the stages of my life, and based on the stages of everyone's life. Is what can I be doing right now to help me at the present as well as in the future? So I think there's no concrete answer for the question, unfortunately. My advice would just be keep doing new things. Because a lot of the time, my biggest thing that I've seen with my friends that I went to university with was a lot of them just did or held themselves to that thing that they wanted to do in first year, even though along the way they realized, I don't want to do this actually, and we're just too afraid to admit that I've been wrong. Like, I wanted to do iBanking, and the first time I realized, like, I have to give up my social life, or I have to pull long hours with a bunch of guys that are just super bro. I was like, that's not for me. So I was able to realize that, but I have a lot of friends who ended up going and doing iBanking, and then look back, or during the process were like, oh man, this is probably not the thing for me, but it's too far, I've already done this, I've already got this certificate, and then just stayed. And then that's what happens when they didn't goal set and they didn't know what the long-term picture looked like. They woke up one day and they were in that, not even 9 to 5, they were in that 12 to 12, or 10 to 12, and being like, shit, this isn't like what I was meant for. So I would say the number one thing is like, just do what you think is the best at that particular moment in time in your life, but don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to make change. Because at the end of the day, the moment we can continue to keep doing that is the moment that we're always presently happy. And taking a leap is actually not that hard. Every leap that I've taken between quitting my job after 6 months of graduating university to go to a startup that at the time no one knew what the hell Shopify was. My mom was like, tech company? And I was like, yeah, Mom. She's about 4 maybe. I was like, yeah, tech company, sure. And she was like, but I see Sun Life buildings everywhere. And I was like, yeah, Mom, don't worry. And then now, it kind of panned out. And then now I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm going to quit that tech company that just pays me a shit ton of money. And I'm going to go start my own talent agency in LA. And then she's like, what the fuck? But I think she trusts me now. But anyways, the point is just always be able to change. Be true to yourself at that moment, but don't take yourself too seriously. If you change and you say, oh, I was wrong. Accounting is actually boring. Who knew? The other thing just to mention, just because these are all the things I wish I had told myself, is don't do something now that you don't like, hoping that one day that will get you to like something within that sector that you do like. For example, a lot of people go, yeah, iBanking stinks for 4 years, and then you can do whatever you want. Guess what, guys? 4 years is a long time. And it does fly by, but those are some of the golden years of your life. From now, literally like 19, 20 to 30, not that these are the best years of your life, but these are the years you build yourself. I used to sit in rooms and people would be like, man, university, best times of your life. Fuck that, guys. If this is the best years of your life, then you guys should just be partying and having fun. They're not the best years of your life. You have to develop yourself so that later is the best years of your life. But most people just say like, man, university, total freedom is the best time. It's not true. It shouldn't be like that. It should be that you're always developing it so that the next year is the best year of your life. And the next year is the best year of your life. And the next year is the best year of your life. Then you get like 55 and shit just starts. But yeah, so I would say don't do something with your life, hoping that one day that becomes fun. My best friend is in accounting, and he goes, man, I hate it. And I was like, cool, leave. He goes, nah, I can't get my CPA. Then once I get my CPA, hopefully I can use that to do something so that in like 4 or 5 months I can become like a partner, or 4 or 5 years I can become like a partner somewhere. Like, that I like. I was like, dude, you're going to work 5 years at something you don't like, so that hopefully one day you get there and you like it. What happens when you get there in 5 years and you don't like it? Then like, that's really hard to reverse. So just do something you like, hoping that it'll get you to somewhere else you like. And the number one thing, and I know this is cliche as hell, but I'll end with this, is that money doesn't make you happy. Really doesn't make you happy. I went from a quarter at Shopify where I hit half my quota, and I was, if I were to measure my happiness from 1 to 10, I was like a 2 because I didn't hit my quota. Next quarter, I hit my quota, 100%. My happiness was like a 9 because I'm never totally happy with wins. I'm just more sad about losses. But then the next quarter, I hit 230% of my quota. And then my happiness was like probably an 8. Because instead of like being more happy, the more money I made, I was just more stressed, more tired, and I realized that like people don't appreciate you that much more just because you make that much more money or because you're that much more successful. There's a very marginal drop-off. So when I was in 4th year, my thesis paper was, does money bring you happiness? And the answer is, only until about $70,000 a year in USA and Canada. After that, doesn't fucking matter. Because as long as your basic needs are good, then after that, it's more about what you do and do you have fun with it. I promise you guys are all in amazing circumstances and lucky enough to be at an amazing school with amazing profs and amazing clubs and events like this. You guys can make that amount of money in a year like this. So choose what you want to do to make you happy, not to make money, because the money part, as much as it's cliche, I hope like one person actually takes that away. Is like, don't chase the money. It's a byproduct of happiness and success, which usually come from doing something you like. So I'll end with that. Again, write that down if you guys ever want to network or you guys want questions. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Amazing. If you guys could head over to that room right now, it would be another. I just want to